family-owned shop in Loganville, Soesby's Garage, for all your automotive repair needs. We service all makes and models, foreign and domestic. We repair engines, alternators, brakes, alignments, AC systems, and more, using certified technicians with over 90 years of combined experience. We also offer same-day service for some repairs. Soesby's Garage, 200 Bay Creek Road in Loganville. Dependable, honest, and fair. Look us up on Google or Facebook. We'll take good care of you.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services. We are the cornerstone of security in the Southeast.
Welcome everybody to Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services. I'm your host, Rick Strawn, the president of Paradigm Security Services, and we're excited to be with you today on Business RadioX. We're coming to you from the Infinite Energy Center in Gwinnett County, and we're having the VALOR Awards presented by the Chamber of Commerce today that acknowledges and reaches out to all of our emergency services and first responders within our county to show them our appreciation. And one of the things I wanted to do today, since I'm going to change up my introduction a little bit, is since we are at the VALOR Awards and everything, I figured that it would be a good idea to have someone that is highly respected in our county and has a very important job, and that's Major Chris Smith. He is over the criminal investigation section. I keep wanting to say division because that's the way it is in Atlanta, but he's over all the detectives, which is an awesome responsibility. I know there's part of the special investigations, which is narcotics and all, you aren't over, right, Chris?
No, that actually falls under CID.
Oh, it does?
Our criminal investigation division is comprised of 3 sections: criminal investigation section, special investigation section, and then our crime scene investigation section. So
awesome.
That comprises CID.
Awesome. So you're over the whole CID or just that one section?
Just the one section. Yeah.
Well, of course, to me, that one section is really the most important, because other than crime scene investigation is always important because that helps you get to where you want to go. But the initial part is all the investigators. A lot of people, when they think of detectives, they don't realize that they're broken up into things like units like the burglary, homicide,
correct,
sex
yes.
crimes, auto theft. And I think when I was with Atlanta, I worked every unit within the CID as a supervisor and a manager, and that can be a very trying job. I can imagine being in command over all of it when the good and the bad comes back to you.
That's right. It's a handful, but it's very rewarding. Our section, we have the 7 units within our section. They're comprised of general crimes, and those folks usually just investigate property crimes. Our electronic financial crimes, more commonly known as white collar, they're the ones that do fraud investigation, identity theft, things like that. Within that unit, there's also a computer forensics lab that we do, that when we serve search warrants on computers or cell phones, those guys actually do the forensics on those computers. And then our burglary unit, obviously, self-explanatory, commercial and residential. They investigate those. Within that burglary unit, it's a pawn unit.
I was going to ask you if your pawn unit was like ours, it was within that.
Yes, because most of the time when a burglary occurs, they're going straight to the pawn shops to get rid of that stuff and get some quick cash. So our pawn unit is very important to our burglary unit, and they've solved several burglaries based on items that were found in the pawn database.
I guess nowadays it's a little different. Back when I did it, when I was over that unit, we had huge books of paper that was from there was
wow,
volumes and volumes that you had to go through. I guess it's all on computers.
All computerized now. Makes it
wow.
a lot easier.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. But then we've got also our motor vehicle theft. Those guys get out there and look for stolen trucks, boats, ATVs. And within that unit, we also have a metal theft unit, because chop shops and things like that want to get rid of metal. And then as we get out of our property crimes and our small crimes, we get into the major crimes units, what we call our persons crimes units, which is our special victims. They investigate crimes against the elderly, crimes against children, personal care homes, medical facilities, things of that nature. And then our robbery unit, they go out and they look for bad guys that are holding people up in businesses and things of that nature. And then last but not least is our homicide unit. Our homicide unit was utilized heavily last year. We had a record-breaking year in Gwinnett County with 48 homicides.
But your clear-up rate was awesome.
The clearance rate was phenomenal. Those folks over there,
87% or something like that.
It was 83%.
83%.
Just the national average for homicide rate clearance is about 61 to 63%. So our guys are clicking on all cylinders out here. They're working hard. They're grinding. Days off, called in weather, inclement weather. They're out there working. Just a phenomenal clearance rate, and those guys and gals are working very hard.
Does your unit separate assaults and homicide into two separate units within that unit, or is it all based into?
So all the investigators in the homicide unit investigate both homicides and aggravated assault and aggravated batteries. So they don't get all the homicides. They kind of give them a break. You're not going to work this homicide. We're going to give you an aggravated assault or an aggravated battery. So kind of a little break.
That's a real thrill because I was over both of those units, and one can be just as busy as the other.
That's for sure.
And sometimes but luckily most of the assaults of that type batteries are of a personal nature. There's a personal contact there that it's a lot easier sometimes to find that perpetrator.
Yes, it is.
Well, based on the mission statement of one department, one of the department's in 2020 goals and objectives was to reduce crime. So how have y'all been on that? I know let's start off with property crimes and then talk about person crimes. And for those that don't know, I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, well, we obviously, we're always wanting to reduce crime, no matter what kind of crime it is. That makes the citizens feel safe and our communities thrive. When you have a low crime rate, businesses thrive, people do well, people are happy. So we're always wanting to reduce crime, but we have a systematic approach that the chief has made it very clear, we're going to communicate, we're going to talk with each other. And one of the things we do is we conduct monthly commanders meetings and monthly CompStat presentations to the chief so he can see what we're doing to identify emerging crime trends and patterns, and then share that information and develop problem-specific strategies and deploy those resources in the spots and areas where the crime's evident. Also, we'll research and identify and leverage existing and emerging technologies. That is the biggest thing. There is so much technology out there, Rick, that it's just we can't screen it all. There's so much of it. So leveraging those emerging technologies, such as NIBINS, which is run by the ATF. It's a ballistics identification for shell casings that we recover from crime scenes, not just homicides, but any crime scene. It could be a drive-by shooting. It could be just a person out shooting off rounds.
The advancement in those areas, the shell casings and the striations on bullets and stuff, has just taken leaps and bounds over the last few years.
It really has, and we started this NIBINS program hot and heavy. We're using vigilant ballistics, and we've been able to link over 40 cases since we started this in late August. I think we started it, so it's working. It's phenomenal. But not just the NIBINS, not just the ballistics, but facial recognition, tag readers, video surveillance, just leveraging that technology and using it to our benefit to find these criminals.
Well, we're lucky here in Gwinnett. We have the camera system set up in a lot of areas. The name of it just went out of my head.
There's several different systems that are across the county. Yes, Flock is one of them.
That Flock system seems to be awesome. Being able for that officer on the beat that's out there to interact through it with a computer and get notifications.
Yeah, and we're hoping with our SACRC, our Situational Awareness Crime Response Center, that's coming online hopefully middle of this year, that we'll be able to get that information out there to the officers quicker, have someone there that's able to see those things and identify them and get them across the radio quicker to the officers that are on the beat.
I still would very much like to see, we have patrols and stuff around Gwinnett County. to see that ability to come through and be able to get notifications or to send notifications to y'all when we see if we get something, interact with Flock enough to where we get notices to where we can be on the lookout. Because I think that having that extra set of eyes out there on patrol, like around Gwinnett Place and all through the CIDs and stuff, could be awesome.
Absolutely. Rick, and that goes into my next topic I was going to talk about is we've got to reduce crime, we've got to engage the residents, businesses, relevant stakeholders in a wide variety of crime prevention strategies to prevent these crimes from occurring. Business holders, citizens, just getting them on board with what we've got going on, what we're utilizing, and what we're doing, I think is gonna be key in reducing this crime.
I absolutely agree. I mean, you've got all those extra eyes out there that if they saw something and knew it, they would immediately be able to link up, call 911 and say, hey, that thing that tag that just went out, or that car description, or that person, I see that person out here at Gwinnett Place Mall on the street or whatever. Then let y'all. I think that would help y'all.
That's right.
lot.
The more eyes looking, the better it's going to be.
Well, tell us. A lot of people don't understand what UCR is, and from our talk earlier, I understand it's going to be changed. The Federal Bureau is not going to call it uniform crime reporting anymore. I worked that section for a couple of years with Atlanta back in the mid-'70s, a couple of years ago, back when we were doing cards for the radio and stuff. But, there's the property crimes, there's the person-to-person crimes. And how are y'all looking on that as far as how's that working within y'all?
Our UCR Part 1 crimes were very good.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what Part 1, Part 2 is.
Yes. So Part 1 crimes are crimes that affect the community. Mm-hmm. Your theft, your more serious crimes, your rapes, things like that, burglaries.
Felony type things.
Felony type crimes. But in 2020, our violent crime decreased slightly. Decreased about 5%. Our violent crimes, overall violent crime, decreased. Our property crimes also decreased by about 24.5%.
That's terrific.
And then overall crime in Gwinnett decreased about 22%. So that's taking property crimes and violent crimes. We decreased. Now we were up in a few areas, like our murders. Obviously, we were up quite significantly.
If you got anything that you would kind of contribute, just your thought process, and we all know that this is just that these are opinions because there's no way to scientifically nail it down. But some of the things that you see that have developed that have caused that uptick.
There could be, like you said, several things that we could attribute it to, but I found an article in the Washington Post that a survey that they did. Homicides increased 30% across 34 cities in 2020. And what that article said was, it was. Now, this article, the survey was conducted by the National Commission on COVID-19 and the Criminal Justice Foundation. So they are saying that they're suggesting a correlation between uptick because of COVID-19, obviously. People are home. In certain crimes, because certain crimes decreased, but other crimes increased. The increase in the violence, the article attributes because of the death of George Floyd. There was an uptick after that occurred. But also, again, it's just the COVID-19 pandemic has just got the world kind of wonky right now.
Yeah, and social media, I see that as one of the big issues because everybody gets to talking on social media. They get ticked off at each other.
That's right.
They tend to not hold back anything they've got to say on social media, which translates into somebody deciding, well, I've had enough of this, and then it becomes personally confrontational, and it goes downhill from there.
Yep, there's a variety of things that cause crime. You've got illegal activities people are out doing, selling drugs or trying to rob folks, or domestic. So it's just hard.
Domestics are a biggie.
Domestics are are part of it.
That's one of the things that as an officer I hated going into worse than anything. I'd rather go into a drug deal gone bad than a domestic situation gone bad.
Yeah, those intimate relationships are definitely can be very violent sometimes. But overall, crime in Gwinnett, I think we're doing pretty well. Got hard workers out here that are on the beat every day. We've got the behind the scenes folks that are investigating these crimes and keeping them down. We've also got the new community relations section that the county commission approved, and we're able to get more folks out in the public, dealing with the communities, and providing them a location to go and have their voice be heard with what's going on with policing in our department. And last year, 449 crime prevention and safety community outreach programs were attended by over 30,000 people in 2020, just from Gwinnett County Police Department. So we're getting the word out there. We're trying to be engaged. We're trying to be involved. We're trying to get the community to be engaged and involved with us. So there are ways folks can come out and see what we do and how we handle things. We're a transparent department, and the Chief West has said that time and time again, that our books are open. We have nothing to hide. Come. We'll show you how we train. We'll show you what we do. We'll show you what we're required by law to be trained on annually. So he welcomes the community to come be involved.
And he welcomes the scrutiny.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
One of the things that a lot of people complain about or talk about, but there's not a lot of real in-depth discussion, I guess, about it, is the gang issues and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we have some gang issues. Do you get involved in? I guess, of course, it has assaults in it, so mm-hmm. I guess you would.
Yes. So we have a separate gang unit that actually falls under our special investigations section. But they're out. They're proactive. They're again in the community. They're involved. They go out there and they try and get into the schools, because unfortunately that's where some of this stuff starts, is the school systems. And we've got a really good working relationship with the SROs, with the school system, identifying these folks and talking to them and trying to get them to change their track. But yeah, we have a very thorough gang investigations unit that is active out there.
Well, one of the things I'd like to recommend, if there's any business owners that are listening here and talking, is one of the best things that you can do to decrease gang activity in your area is when you see those taggings and you see that graffiti and stuff, get it cleaned up immediately.
The quicker the better.
The quicker the better. The longer you leave it there, it's called the broken window theory, and bottom line is the more you look like a gang-infested area, the more you're going to be a gang-infested area or just a crime-infested area. So you got to clean up, and that's what we do in Gwinnett Place CID and all. We watch for that graffiti, and the business owners are awesome about getting it immediately cleaned up and done, and it makes a big difference.
Yes.
What about the? I know there's a lot of talk of the human trafficking stuff. Now I know that's again not in your section. Mm-hmm. I guess that would be the special investigation section.
We do. We have internet crimes against children that again falls under our special victims unit, but also our ICAC falls under SIS as well. So because we have to have those undercover officers that are working those type of investigations, but human trafficking is the forefront of all the talk right now. But we do have folks that work those investigations, that are dedicated to work those investigations, and that's all that they do day in and day out.
Well, for the people out there, again, you see something, say something. If you happen to see something that just doesn't look right with these young people, and especially when they're with older people, and it becomes obvious, a lot of times it becomes pretty obvious that it's not their parents and it's not their, brothers, sisters, or whatever. Just kind of don't be afraid to call 911 and get the police involved, because you just never know when one of those people is going to be a victim of human trafficking, and they will not openly call for help. They're scared.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about what's going on in CID, and one of the things I'd like to know is outside CID is, we've had a lot of transitions with the troops. How is the personnel on Gwinnett County? Are we down pretty good? We needing people? We need to have people come out there and put applications in?
Always. We always welcome applicants to put in. Gwinnett County, we are the largest. The police department has the largest service population of any full-service police department in the state of Georgia. 827,000 plus residents just in unincorporated Gwinnett. We also provide police services for Berkeley Lake, Buford, Decula, Grayson, Peachtree Corners, Rest Haven, and Sugar Hill. We're the most second populated county in Georgia. Only Fulton County is larger. Right now we have an authorized strength of 905 sworn officers. Only Atlanta PD is larger right now. But yeah, we're always looking for good applicants to come out and apply and put your best foot forward.
Well, it's a
make
great
a difference
career
in the community. Absolutely, it's very rewarding.
I had 25 years with Atlanta. I have no problem with the career. A lot of what's going to determine the path of our police officers and as far as and the communities and stuff is from this point forward is going to be the people we bring in, the training they've got, which I know for a fact Gwinnett County has an absolutely superior training academy. I just had a young man, Ed White, that went through, I guess it's been a little over a year ago, with Gwinnett County, lives next door to me. And I've seen that young man amazingly develop. He'd been in corrections a little bit, but I've seen him over the course of the last year really develop into quite a young man. And I know it has a lot to do with the people around him, the FTO he had, field training officer, the supervisors. You were his commander at one time in Central Precinct. But it's been amazing to watch them. And
it really is to see them from start to finish. When they start, they're kind of laid back and scared, and by the end of it, they're out there doing traffic stops and helping folks. So it's really to see their confidence level grow is phenomenal.
Well, we're getting down to where we need to close, but I tell you, one of the things that I've noticed is, and I think it's awesome, is when you see a Gwinnett County officer roll up on a stop or something, almost invariably you see a second backup officer follow him up, and that having that backup, a lot of people need to understand it's not an overkill. A lot of times that is very quickly diffuses a situation that could develop into a bad situation. There are more bad situations that are avoided by that second officer or that backup following up on them than ever happens.
Yeah, that's just part of the training. They go out and are there, and they see something that somebody needs, or they're there, back up.
Well, Major, I really appreciate you being here. It is awesome. I think the event for VALOR Awards is about to get started,
Absolutely.
So I know we need to get in there. But I want to thank you all for joining us on Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services. Remember, you can join us live every other Wednesday, and I'd like to make sure that you tune in next week for Food, Faith, and Feelings with Dr. Jeannie Burnett on her Wednesday show. But you can visit us, listen anytime to our show by going to businessradiox.com, clicking on Gwinnett Studio, and then click, of course, on Case in Point. Be sure, please, to subscribe to us on that site. Join us when we talk with business leaders in a couple of weeks and about our business and related security issues in today's world. Thanks again to my guest, Major Chris Smith.
Thanks, Rick.
Been
always
awesome.
Good time.
Yeah, always good time talking to you. Maybe we can play golf soon. And for our producer, Mike and Amanda. And remember, I'm Rick Strawn at Paradigm Security Services. We cover more than just your assets.